I know this sounds like such first world problems, but I'm actually crying about this and would appreciate if you guys could read the whole thing before making a judgment. Growing up, I was technically lower middle/middle class, but we lived definitely below our means. Most of my parents' salaries went to supporting my dad's family overseas. This meant that while I was fortunate to never be hungry or unwell, I didn't have many toys or tech compared to my friends. And my clothes were usually 3RD/4 the hand inherited from older cousins, or else bought for pennies at a car boot sale. Everything from groceries to electricity use was organized to save the maximum amount so we could send off money to relatives. Anyway, I'm grown and in my mid-30s now. I'm married with kids, but anytime I splurge on myself or my family, my parents have something to say about it. Even if it's something as simple as eating out or going to get my hair cut at a salon. Honestly, as a result, I can't tell them everything that goes on in my day-to-day because it becomes an argument, and I hate it because we were always close growing up. Okay, so I recently had baby no 2 in the weekend between my birthday and my anniversary. As a combined gift for all three, my husband bought me a Rolex. It's definitely one of their cheaper models, but yes, obviously still not an everyday purchase. I didn't tell my parents, but they saw it during a FaceTime call, and they're really mad at me. Their faces literally dropped when I confirmed what it was. They started shouting that I've become shallow if I think that's an okay use of money, and they don't know who I am anymore, and that I need to sort my priorities. My dad started saying he could probably feed the orphanage he sponsors for half a year with what was on my wrist, and I'm just sitting around flashing it like it's nothing. They hung up, and my mom told me not to call them until I remember who I used to be. I can't stop crying. I feel like I've failed my parents, but at the same time, it was a present from my husband, and I really love it for that. But then again, they're right, and it's not a necessity. Am I the idiot? Now, here are the comments. Comment 1. Even if it's something as simple as eating out or going to get my hair cut at a salon, these people are unreasonable and irrational. You will spend your entire life justifying living like a normal human being if you let them. Your finances are your business. They are out of line commenting on what you do with your money. Normal people go out to eat and get their hair done and nobody questions them. Nobody bats an eye. It's just a thing people do without fearing someone will judge them for it. But your parents have turned it into a crime. Their behavior is not normal. I want to stress this. I grew up in a household where I considered a lot of wacky stuff to be normal because it's how I was raised. And then I entered the real world as an adult, and people would stare at me in shock when I casually mentioned things my parents did. I was confused at their reactions. It took a while for me to realize how wrong things had been at home. I'll say this. You are okay. You are not a bad person. You haven't done anything wrong. You haven't forgotten yourself. You have failed no one. You have nothing to be sorry for. You have nothing to be guilty for. You are allowed to spend money how you want, and you are allowed to have money be spent on you. You deserve to be treated just like anyone else. You say you feel you have failed your parents, but apparently even going out to eat makes them upset. If living well and happily is failing them, then do it with pride, because they deserve to have their manipulative, judgmental brainwashing fail, not the idiot. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Honey, get into therapy ASAP. They may not have hit you, but they clearly, financial, abused you. They messed with your head until you can't see left from right from wrong. The guilty feeling is ingrained in you. They hammered into you again and again with words and actions. They branded it into your soul when you were too young and helpless to prevent it. You still can't handle it. But now you have kids. Who will see how their grandparents are treating you, demanding that you adhere to their warped ways of spending money? Anything for everybody else, and the kids can be grateful to get months-old breadcrumbs. They see you struggling and start to internalize these harmful beliefs themselves. So how will you teach them a healthy, guilt-free relationship with money if you are not able to have one yourself? So get into therapy to unburden you from these not nice people and their toxicity. My mom told me not to call them until I remember who I used to be. Cherish this gift. Them not willing to talk to you until you crawled over broken glass and burning coals to beg their forgiveness. Well, this will ensure that they have no means to reset any kind of progress the therapy will have. Good luck, op. Comment 3. No. Of course, not the idiot. You can be humble and kind and generous and still treat yourself from time to time. You've just had 3 milestones. It sounds like you and your husband have worked hard for the money you have, and more importantly, it was a gift from your husband. The important thing is that you understand your own fortune and are grateful for it, which you clearly do understand, or you wouldn't be so upset right now. Your priorities are exactly where they need to be, and your parents are being way too hard on you. Even if it was a spontaneous purchase solely because you wanted to do it and not a gift, you are 100% allowed to treat yourself now and again. Sorry, you're upset, OP. You should be celebrating right now. Try to enjoy everything you and your husband have worked for. Your parents should be happy for you. Even if this is a cultural thing where you're taught to be careful with money, it's not like you're throwing money at the wall on random things. Not the idiot. Now for the next story. My mom is having an affair with a married man. There's been some tension over her accusing me of judging her. She's not exactly wrong. Last week she got mad at me for something I had absolutely nothing to do with. The fact that my 23-year-old intellectually disabled brother is calling her side piece. She thinks my brother is too unintelligent to come up with something like that. I bet he saw it on TV. He says he doesn't remember where he learned it. Mom told me I couldn't see my brother until I apologized because I was a bad influence on him. I decided to ignore her decree. I usually see my brother every Wednesday to talk and play games. I decided I would see him last Wednesday too. So I did. Once Mom got home, she found my brother and me playing a video game. She told me to get out and threatened to call 911 if I didn't. I said, "Go ahead." She didn't, but she ordered my brother to go to his room and unplug the TV so I couldn't finish the game. I got out my Kindle, continued sitting on the couch and started reading, pretending I couldn't hear her screaming and threatening to call 911. I plan on doing the same thing next Wednesday too. I understand she's in the right legally, but morally, I don't think so. Now, here are the comments. Comment 1. You're the idiot. You have no rights to impose on yourself in your mother's house, her rules. To avoid being TH, you would need to find ways to visit with your brother outside of your mother's home. You don't go into any detail. Is it as simple as your brother is a legal adult and come visit with you when he wants? Or do you perhaps have to look into getting a family lawyer involved if disabled son is under some legal guardianship? Comment 2. Even if you thought you were in the right morally, the police don't care about something being morally right or wrong. They care about the legal aspect of it. So unless you want to end up in a whole lot of legal trouble, I'd stay away until she invites you back. Comment 3. Everyone sucks here. Your mom is an AH for blaming you for something your brother probably learned on TV. You are trespassing for hanging out at her house when she told you to get out and is threatening to call 911. Now, for the next story. English isn't my first language. I, 20-year-old female, have a half-brother, 30-year-old male, from my father's first marriage. My parents divorced when I was 5. My brother and I were close, and he stayed over at our house a lot until I was around 12 years old. After some personal stuff between him and my mom and work on his side, we sadly drifted apart and maybe saw each other 1-2 times a year. My brother called me last year telling me he was getting engaged. In our culture, the groom's family goes to the bride's home to ask for her hand in marriage from her family. It was about that, and said he really wanted me there. I was excited and agreed, hoping that this would be a good time to try and reconnect. My mom encouraged me to go, but she seemed upset that it was last minute. He called me a week before and asked if he planned on buying me a dress. I said I didn't need a dress because I already had one at home that would fit. She didn't say much more after that. Afterwards, our relationship became much better and we hung out more. Where I'm from, most couples get married before the actual wedding. My brother and his now wife got married a week before their wedding, and again, my mom asked me if my brother was going to buy me a dress. I said I didn't need a new one because I had one at home. She held her tongue, but it was obvious she was annoyed and upset. Then, the night before the wedding, my mom exploded over the dress thing. She said that she could overlook my brother not buying me a dress until now, but she couldn't overlook the disrespect he was showing towards me as his sister by not buying one for his actual wedding. He did ask me if I wanted to go dress shopping. I declined since I had a dress at home. It was one I wore to my cousin's wedding a few years back, and it still fit me. I told her as much. She said that she won't allow her daughter to be humiliated. What would people think if I wore an inappropriate dress for the groom's sister? I said I didn't care, and that the dress was very much appropriate. She then said that my brother was treating me like a guest and how he never looked after me during all of this. I said that he always made me appointments for hair and makeup. My mother said I was blind to how my brother has been treating me because I've idolized him, that he only wants me there because he wants to keep up face with his wife and in-laws, showing them how great of a brother he is. Then she took my keys and hid them away so I couldn't leave. I didn't get my keys back, so I had to call my brother and tell him I couldn't come to the wedding. Ever since then, I've been ignoring my mother. She's tried to talk to me and tell me she was sorry, but that she only had my best interest in mind. I don't really see the issue in how my brother was treating me. I was happy to rebuild our relationship. I don't know if I can forgive my mother for making me miss his wedding. Am I the idiot? Now for the next story. Throwaway account to protect the identities of the innocent and the guilty. My grandmother recently passed away. She was 97 years old and had a great run, but it was still very sad as she was a big part of my 30-year-old male and brother's 34-year-old male lives. We held a celebration of life in her honor, and my brother played the violin for her service. My wife and I were with my sister-in-law and their 2 sons, 2 and 4. Normally, I am fine with little kids being at places where the setting makes sense. As some background, my brother and his wife practice soft parenting. No punishments, timeouts, negotiate with the kids, apologize if they yell, allow unacceptable behavior, etc. I have never voiced my concerns about their parenting. Different strokes for different folks. But we'll say their kids are a handful as a result, and being in public with them is usually embarrassing. At the funeral, the kids made a ton of noise during the service. I asked my sister-in-law if she had coloring books for the kids. She said no, just the toy trucks they were playing with. Loud as phi asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. I said, "Can they do that in the hallway?" She said they're fine. I told her if she can't keep them quiet during the service, they should leave and wait in the hall. She took them and stormed out. They left the reception early, and my brother texted me, calling me an asterisk asterisk hole for commenting on his wife's parenting. Am I the idiot? Now, here are the comments. Comment 1. Not the idiot. Those kids are young, and it is appropriate for kids to be quiet, or for parents to remove them to somewhere where they will not be disruptive. You didn't ask for anything out of normal, considerate interaction. Those kids will be a nightmare as they get older. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Children are capable of learning about decorum if they have parents who are responsible enough to teach them. Comment 3. Not the idiot. You were not commenting on his wife's parenting, just asking for some privacy and respect on a sad occasion. Now, for the next story. First off, sorry for formatting as I'm on mobile. So, a little backstory before we get to the main issue. My fiancé, F29, and I, M34, have been engaged for a little over 2 years and are getting married next month. Combined, we make about $170,000 a year. We decided on a place that is perfect for us to get married at and never expected anyone to help because, 1, we chose a place that fits our budget, and 2, it's ultimately our day and what we want, so we planned on paying for it ourselves. Now, my fiancé's parents make more than my family does. My fiancé's parents offer to help in any way they can and have paid for stuff without us even asking.
They paid for our bridal shower, which included the gifts, the food, and the rental spot. They also paid for her dress, which was about $1,000. My parents volunteered to pay for the rehearsal dinner and the dessert. We chose a place for the dessert and gave my parents a price. We chose to do cupcakes and just a little 2-tier cake from a popular bakery called Everything Bunt Cakes. Well, when we went to place the order, we found out the buntinis are really small and decided maybe we should double the order. I called my mom and she confirmed it was okay, even though the price was doubled. I asked her if she was sure because they were planning a trip to Mexico at the time, and my dad was working a second job to be able to afford it.
I told my mom I don't care if she wanted to do something else because of the price change, but she reassured me it was fine. So we placed the order and thought that was that. Now, on to the issue. A few days after we placed our order, I get a text from my sister saying we need to talk. So I texted back asking what was up. She goes on this huge rant saying, I need to stick up for my parents because they work so hard for what they have, and me deciding to double the dessert order was bullshit. I tried explaining to her that our parents agreed to it and reassured me it was fine. It wasn't like I told my parents, this is what we are doing and you don't have a choice. My sister started calling my fiancé a crybaby and me an ungrateful witch. I told her if she kept it up, she will be uninvited to our wedding because I will not put up with the way she is talking to us. She said, fine, take me out because I'm done with you and you won't see your niece ever again. There were a lot more choice words that were said that I won't get into, but my fiancé was upset and crying, and I won't stand for that. I have completely cut my sister off and have not talked to her since. I didn't have a conversation with my dad and a lot of tears were shed between us. I haven't talked to my mom because she makes excuse after excuse for my sister as to why she acts the way she does. I have also gone low contact with her because I don't want to start any more drama. So I ask if I'm the idiot for going no contact with my sister even though she's family. Edit. I guess I should clarify that my dad did not pick up a second job just for this wedding. He's been working a second job for a while now on the weekends just for extra money for anything he wants to do. My mom is a homebody, and her number one excuse for not doing anything is money. They did end up going on vacation and had a wonderful time, but my dad uses this money for baseball games, high-end whiskey he likes to drink, gas for his motorcycle rides, stuff like that. Eat it #2, a lot of you are saying my dad took a second job to make ends meet, which isn't the case. He's had a second job on the weekends driving a limo for extra money, period. He didn't take a second job to pay for desserts for a wedding. Edit #3, and maybe my final edit. I offered to pay the difference of the dessert, or pay for the rehearsal dinner they also offered to pay for to offset the cost. The desserts we chose were the cheapest option we found that didn't include a professional baker. I've also told my parents I don't care about the money, but they, once again, reassured me it was fine after a lengthy phone call. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.